This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up? No, it's another Thursday. I'm almost forgetting my days because I just had a dog-ass nap, but it is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, we've got New Year's Evil. You got the badass match you had between Hangman and Bryan Danielson. You got Wrestle fucking Kingdom 16 and unfortunately more WWE releases. We've got stuff to talk about. When you guys join the stream, like I said, drop it in the comments. Let us know where you're at, where you're watching from, what you think on the situation. And make sure you share it and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. So, fellers, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing well on this Thursday. I know I got a big project ahead of me, so I'm trying not to think about work too much. I got a big ass job to go finish tomorrow, but other than that, man, I'm doing really well. Just ready to get into this weekend. Honestly, wishing it was next weekend because this 4-week break from the UFC is killing me. Ready to watch some damn fights, but other than that, I'm doing well. What about you, J-Bone?
I'm cold, man. I'm freezing out here. I can't even imagine guys that are working outside, dude. No way. It's just no.
We were hanging a door outside the other day when it was the 40 plus mile an hour wind day, and we just had to straight up pull off the job. It was
dude.
Too like. I mean, I dress in like some full Carhartt snow gear. Carhartt, you ever hear that? Sponsor your boy. I'm out here working in it.
There you
go.
But
for real, I'm not that cold. I stay pretty bundled up for the most part. The only thing that gets cold on me is my little slot of eyeballs that you can see in my fingers. But other than that, I'm all right.
Hear that, man.
Well, we're still waiting for everybody to come in this weekend, but I want to say thank you to everybody who has reached out about those shirts. We already had a couple of our day ones out here. Christy coming to get her a shirt. Cody taking that big old 4X off my hands. Hopefully you'll be joining the stream here shortly. I appreciate you for hitting us up to see when we're coming live. If you guys are jumping in the stream, let me know where you're watching from. But I figured with all the news of these releases, the releases in NXT New Year's Evil would have to be where we start with tonight's show. I hate to have to start in a spot like that, but holy shit, man. Like, if they weren't making it clear that this is the death of the black and gold NXT, I mean, I don't know what to think. From Braun Breaker's entrance to his match with Tommaso Ciampa before he became NXT champion, which we'll talk about in a little bit, to what we're seeing now, it's kind of crazy. So, first of all, I guess I should read off the releases for anybody that hasn't seen them. Samoa Joe is the most recent release. Road Dogg was released. Dave Kapoor, who used to be Ranjan Singh, but he was a creative person, he got let go. Let's see. You had Scott Armstrong got let loose. I mean, they basically got rid of the last few of the Mohicans when it comes. Gabe Sapolsky, who we worked with Evolve, who was working with WWE, he got released as well. I don't know, man. What are your guys, J-Bone, what's your immediate thoughts on these releases?
Dude, it sucks. Listen, it's got to go back. I mean, I can't. There's no way budget cuts are a thing in WWE. It just no way, dude. I'm not buying that. So it's got to go back to the whole WWE Wednesday Night War thing. It's got to be. What else could? Why would you cut somebody like William Regal, the guy that has coached and trained your NXT superstars, dude, and future stars in the company? This guy does not have a freaking blemish on his record when it comes to stuff like that. You've seen the outpouring on Twitter, I'm sure. all day long, it was how good William Regal is, how good he's been, what he's done for everybody as individuals and for that company. So it's got to be like a sour taste in Vince's mouth or something, man. That's all I can get out of that. I don't know. It's crazy to me, though.
Hey, yo, how y'all doing? Cody, I appreciate you, fam. I got that 4X with your motherfucking name on it. So we'll have the link up when you get on here, man. We're talking about these WWE releases, bro. Like I said, it's crazy. So not that the ones who were wrestlers weren't surprising. Like Timothy Thatcher doesn't surprise me as much because Timothy Thatcher has a big MMA background, stuff like that, real hard hitting, not exactly a character type guy. I can see why somebody like Vince maybe doesn't like a guy like him. Danny Burch, they already let go of his partner, Oni Lorcan. So again, on that one, even though I am a fan of Danny Burch, I also was a bigger fan of NXT Black and Gold. What can I say? If you guys are watching this, what are your thoughts on the apparent death of the Black and Gold brand of NXT? But where it gets crazy for me is, like you said, William Regal, in almost every documentary that you can find on Peacock, they all talk about how William Regal found this guy and this guy and this girl and that girl and this guy. And, you know, it's crazy to me that they would let him go unless, you know, obviously he had drug problems back in the day, but like you haven't heard about that in years. So unless it was something like that where there were issues with that, which I totally don't think that's what this is. Why would you let him go? Because if I'm AEW, you know, you might need to be careful on signing more talent and shit. But if you could sign a mind like that to get into your creative or your talent scouting or your coaching or whatever, shit, if I'm AEW, I'm looking, my eyes are wide open for that.
Yeah.
And then you got the Road Dogg, same thing. You got one of the best talkers of the last 10, 15 years, man.
Right.
You
got to think the guys
knows
over at
they're
AEW. You know the guys at AEW, guys like Mark Henry. You know he's over there probably just salivating like, yes, bring William Regal here because that dude off screen is going to do wonders for that locker room if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like there's no, like I said, there's no blemish on his record when it comes to that kind of stuff, man. It's a mind in wrestling that you really, there's no reason you wouldn't want that. So I don't get it.
And with a company of, I know, like you had brought up, like it can't be budget cuts, right? But with a company of that size, it's not like paying somebody an additional 100,000, 200, whatever. I'm sure his salary wasn't some astronomical number. It was, I would imagine, under $1 million a year. And for them, they signed a fucking $1 billion TV right deal. Like
they've signed
two. You're telling me,
two of them,
yeah. So you're telling me you can't afford somebody, you know, even if it's just kind of like what the UFC did with a Chuck Liddell, even if it's something like behind the scenes where they kind of just want him to step back and not necessarily.
And that's what William Regal was already doing anyway.
That's what I'm saying. If they just wanted him to step back, then it is what it is, man. But with everything he's done for the company, you couldn't keep him under payroll. That seems a little.
Yeah, I mean, you could even brought William Regal up to SmackDown or Raw, man, and they'd have benefited from that.
Dude,
you know what
anywhere would benefit with that mind, from psychology to the in-ring to everything. Like there's no company that can't benefit from a guy like William Regal. And that's what's crazy with Samoa Joe too. Even though Samoa Joe had gotten hurt, which is why he had to drop the NXT title, Joe was already like talents. Like I saw him at multiple of the WWE tryouts that they've had recently in Las Vegas and all this stuff. I don't understand why you get rid of a Samoa Joe. I mean, for you guys that are watching, what was the most shocking release that they've let out? What'd you say, J-Bone?
What was his injury? I don't remember what it was.
I forgot what
concussion
he got
or something.
With.
There's like, was he the
no,
one that had the head
he had
injury?
gotten hurt with something. I can't remember what it was, but I can look it up. But he had been out for a little bit.
Another thing that we see a lot is those guys that have those repeating injuries, and then they kind of go against it, like, you know, I still want to wrestle, I still want to do this, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to put you over here. And yeah, I could see how that could be an issue. Like guys like Joe, if he's got a future in the ring still, and hopefully he does. Like I said, I don't know what his injuries was. I'd love to see him
bring him back and let him go back to New Japan.
I'd love to see him go somewhere else anyway. You know what I mean?
In the case of Samoa Joe, didn't they just have a whole thing with him just like a year ago where he was released and then brought back?
Yep.
Yeah, they released him, brought him back, and he
Yeah.
won the NXT title.
Yeah, so yet again, it's like a
And another
they
few
have
just
something
somebody's not
behind
with the
the
company.
scenes, you know, like it just doesn't. What's the math equation there? You know,
It doesn't make any sense, man. And like I said, I mean, I guess that's as good a way as any to, Scott Armstrong and a few other people of the creative. Scott Armstrong was a referee too, but some of the other creative team. But it almost kind of seems like it's like Vince coming out and being like, "Yo, all the Triple H's people get the fuck out." Like that's pretty much that, and
it's
that's
like he's
pretty much
it's
how.
like he's a
But the
head
weird thing,
coach taking over a new football team, firing all the defensive coordinators.
Weird thing is, we haven't heard from
yeah.
Triple H. We haven't heard nothing from Triple H.
That's
Like,
what's crazy. The man has the heart issues or whatever. It had happened with his heart that he had the issues, and then he goes out and NXT just boom. But we know why Vince is doing it because Vince saw the whole Wednesday Night War thing as a loss.
Yeah,
that's why the drastic switch. I mean, there's no other two ways about it. I guess that's as good a way. No, and then that's the number one thing you hear. He doesn't like to lose. Obviously, he beat WCW, and the fact that his company, even if it's like, put it this way. So NXT is going great and doing all these numbers and selling out these arenas for NXT TakeOver and all that stuff. You don't care when that's happening, but then when you lose, now you're just giving him the gas he needs to do what I think he always wanted NXT to be, and that's be a developmental. I will say I think it has kind of like bridged some of that gap in between NXT and the main roster. But I mean, I guess that's as good as any of a way to get into NXT New Year's Evil. Where do you want to start with this one, J-Bone?
Well, we might as well start at the top, man. Like it goes right into that whole Braun Breaker entrance. It was all there. You know what I mean? It was all there for us, right? It was right in front of us. So
Carmelo Hayes versus Roddy Strong, formerly of the Undisputed Era. They did a unification match for the Cruiserweight title versus the North American title, and Carmelo Hayes came out victorious in that one, which the match was a fucking banger. Like that title's
gone now, right? Is that what happened with that?
Yeah, so now the Cruiserweight title's gone. And that was what was weird with it too, right? So you got rid of it, but even in the couple weeks before that, they go, there are no more weight limits on the Cruiserweight title. Then how the fuck is it the Cruiserweight title? And then the next week they just unified it. Nope, boom, bitch, be gone.
Hey, thanks for bringing this NXT Black and Gold, but we're gonna get this out of here too.
Dude, it's crazy,
we've seen you guys had success with it, and we're trying to do the complete opposite of what you guys did. So we're just going to get rid of that.
Just throw this one in the trash.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like they ever made the Cruiserweight title like too high up on the ranking, but like to me, it's more significant due to the fact that Roddy Strong was the champion. You know, he was huge with the Undisputed Era. Now they're trying to have this new era. You know, I don't know what happens, man. Hypothetically. I mean, and like I said, I hope that it's not the case. I never want to see somebody lose a job, but hypothetically, say Roddy gets released. Imagine if he goes over to AEW and they basically reform the Undisputed Era in AEW.
I'll tell you what, honestly, I thought he was going to be on that list when they said more releases were coming.
I mean, when he lost the title, and they got rid of Hatchet Man.
Yep, I thought he was going to be on that list. Like, I don't want to see anybody lose their job either. That just sucks, but. Guys like him, I really think there are certain guys that would benefit from it. Like there's other places, Joe being one, Roddy being one. There's just other places to make their star shine a little more, man. Sometimes I don't think
a guy like
WWE
Joe. I think a guy like Joe, not necessarily AEW for sure, but like a guy like Joe, dude. I hope that he can come out and kind of have like some of what we've seen from Daniel. I almost called him Daniel Bryan Danielson. Hey man, it's a big switch. You know,
it'll never stop. I don't think it'll ever stop. I did it all day.
With the
when you literally just take the two names and do this.
I even did it
at the end. It's like,
today. I was searching stuff on YouTube for Dynamite or the thing on TBS, and I'm typing.
That
Daniel
thing
Bryan.
that just
Daniel
had
Bryan.
its first episode on
Yeah.
TBS, and they crowned a TBS champion, and
You know,
we're
that
going to
thing.
talk about all that thing.
Yeah, typing in Daniel Bryan. I'm like, why is it not working? I'm like, wait a
Did
minute.
they release him and let him go back to
that's right.
WWE?
Wait, come on. Wake up. Jeez.
Out here like Heidenreich, stupid.
Yeah. Right. Very nice. Very nice.
Like I said, man, that's as good a way to get into NXT New Year's Evil. Like I said, you had Carmelo Hayes unifying the NXT North American and NXT Cruiserweight champion. Now his champion remains. The Cruiserweight title is now no more. It's crazy to think though, because like I said, not necessarily like the Cruiserweight title, but then you think about like you had the match between Riddle, MSK, and Walter and Imperium. Now that was a banger of a match. Walter, for all intents and purposes, you would think would be like a guy that Vince would love to have. But we've heard from the jump that Walter doesn't really want to go too far outside the NXT UK thing, which he's come to NXT a little bit, and I'm sure they've had him on some of the live events. But it'll be interesting to see if they bring him up or what they do with him. Obviously,
They
I'm
just
a huge
announced
fan
something today with it, or was it last night? They announced something with him. I think he's leaving NXT UK to come to NXT 2.0 full time now. I'm pretty sure that's what the announcement was.
I mean, good, because I mean, Walter's a fucking star, dude. You watch the matches that he's had with past guests of the show, PCO. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. But like I said, I don't know. It's just interesting.
I want to see Walter in the Rumble, man. I'm just gonna
please do. He'd be perfect.
I want to see Walter in the Royal Rumble. I don't care who it is, who's standing tall out there, but that would be one of those good moments. You know what I mean? You get him in there. Maybe it's Omos, and he's out there just killing it, dude. And then in comes Walter. You know what I mean? Like it's like that Keith Lee Brock Lesnar moment that we had a couple years ago. I'd
be all for it, dude. I loved it when Walter showed up in Brooklyn and went face to face with Pete Dunne like that, dude. Like
yes. Yeah,
when he won the NXT UK title, I was there for that. That was dope. Ring the bell. I was there. Hit that subscribe button. You were here. Like I said, it's I don't know, man. It's just crazy with NXT because you don't know what you're going to see, because that takes us to our main event. You got Braun Breaker versus Tommaso Ciampa. Like I said, like we were talking about in the beginning of the show. You know, Braun Breaker comes out with the chains on his arms. And then they got the old yellow X, you know, in front of him, and he breaks the chains and kicks through the X. I mean, that's a pretty big like sign. Like NXT 2.0 is here to stay, and the black and gold brand is definitely dead at this point, at least the way everything looks like right now. And then you have these releases the next day too. So let's talk a little bit about the match. J-Bone, what did you think about Braun Breaker versus Tommaso Ciampa?
Oh, dude, it was great. What a match. Those types of match. Actually, you know what? Let's give Ciampa his flowers, man, because that dude, what a talent. And I know it might, like I said, it's the end of an era for them over there. So hopefully he's going up. Maybe we'll see him in the Royal Rumble too. That'd be nice. But anything that dude touches, whether it's a new talent or an old rivalry, that dude puts on gold standard matches, dude. He is so underrated to me. Like, and remember when he was doing the heel thing against Gargano, he may have been the best heel in wrestling at that point.
Bro, did you not see his heel stuff when he was in Ring of Honor?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, dude is amazing. But that's
Tommaso
another guy.
Ciampa is just
that's
a
another
dog.
guy. You don't want him to get lost in the shuffle on Raw, because that's another guy that's so good, and you hate to see him just buried, man. I don't want to see that. That's what I'm scared to see. You know.
Do you think he gets released?
What was that?
Do you think he gets released?
He's another guy that I think it'd benefit him if he did. Think about it. Does anybody want to really go to WWE? Think about all that talent from Ring of Honor, all that talent that's just sitting out there on the indies that are like, hey, my dream's to be signed and do what I love and get paid for it. Oh, hello. Hi.
We have a visitor.
But do you really want to go to WWE for what? To do something for a year, travel all this time, take all this time away from your family, and just get released a year later? You know, like, what do you what's it going to come
the
to,
only
man?
one
It's a
that I
valid
know
point,
that's.
man.
Go ahead.
That's a valid point, and like you say, whenever I watch any of the matches, because I only end up catching the big stuff, the stuff that's worth coming over to Kyle's house. I'm watching a pay-per-view or something like that, or what are they calling them? Premium live events.
Yeah.
Isn't that the new
PLEs, get you them PLEs, brother.
Uh,
Get you them 24-inch pythons. And
But all
for any of you that are wondering, the hype is still real, bitches. The hype is real.
all jokes aside, though, that's one of my biggest complaints when I do end up seeing these biggest matches of the year. Is it a lot of times ends up being kind of rematches from previous stuff I had already seen,
Yeah.
even if it's not necessarily the same match. It's the same people against the same people, where they have such a diverse roster and such a large talent pool. There's so many people that they could put in those spots, but because they feel as though they have a star or something with somebody, that's all they pump. And that yet again, it's what's the reason, unless you really think that you're going to break into that top echelon of the company, man. It seems like everybody else just kind of gets lost in the mix.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's just like, how do you get there at this point? Because just coming into the main roster, you still got a long road ahead of you, and you got to pretty much hope you're not just stuffed away somewhere. I mean, it's been happening for the past year or two, right? I mean, let's face it, it's a reality, man. Look at Hit Row. We thought they were going to be the next hottest thing in WWE. Here they come.
I was scared as soon as they went to the main roster. I didn't know
No.
that. I didn't know if Vince would, would be able to get that. I'm really interested to see what they do, because I'm serious. I think all of them, maybe not as much B-Fab, but even just as a manager piece there. I mean, and who says she can't wrestle if she gets more training? But I mean, just even as a manager piece with the other three, that group was packed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. I mean, you talk about star power and charisma. I mean, dude, they had it all. And I'm really interested to see what we see from Swerve and all of those guys when they get back out. He couldn't have been a cooler guy. I got to kick it with him while I was getting the tattoo that inspired those new shirts. That if you haven't gotten one, you need to go get you one. The badass design from our friend Lindsay, the American Kaiju Snow, who I know will be making a return to the show in 2022. But yeah, man, he was there with us when we were in Jacksonville, and he couldn't have been a cooler dude. I definitely am interested to see where they go. Cody coming in the comments. Yeah, because people will lose ring time and airtime. I mean, like I said, that's the only thing. Like, yeah, AEW is obviously like the number one that everybody says, but I think companies like Impact and stuff like that are going to end up having to come up, because I mean, let's face it, AEW can only sign so many people, at least in my estimation. At a certain point, they're going to, and I feel like they're kind of already at that point to where you're going to have to be picky to who you start signing, because you can't keep signing more and more people, because even if you have the money, you only got so much TV time, and you've already got essentially 3 TV shows. You've got 2 TV shows and then 2 YouTube shows on top of it. So, I mean, you guys have already got all that time being filled up. All right, since we're talking about to put a bow on NXT New Year's Evil, the match between Champa and them was great. I love the fact that they had the dog face gremlin, Michigan's own Rick Steiner, in the motherfucking building for his son Braun Breaker, or Bronson Rex Steiner. Like I said, it was dope. I think Braun Breaker is going to be a big star, and listen to what you heard here on Tuesday. I think there's a good chance we might see Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble.
I'd love to see that, man.
I don't know that they would do it that quick with him winning the championship. I think they might want him to be the face of it, but at the same time, that guy's got main roster written all over him.
What would you do with him? Fantasy booking. What would you do with him in the Rumble? Give me like a scenario. Shoot from the hip, man. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I feel like, for me at least, since give Kyle a second to breathe on it. Ideal situation, even if he doesn't end up coming full steam winning the thing or anything like that, put him in early, have him knock out a couple people that maybe you think were people that could have won it before he ends up making his exit. I feel like something like that could definitely boost his career in the right direction.
Make him look strong, just not strong enough type of thing.
It all depends.
Yeah, he's still young, so he was
Yeah.
able to take out, this guy, but the savvy vet got him type.
Right.
You know?
See,
cool to
so
see him
to
face
me, it
to
all
face with like Orton or something like that. That'd be cool.
well, I kind of think so. Here's the thing: it all depends on what brand he goes to, right? It depends on what brand he goes to and who's on the brand at the time they do that. Hey, what up, though? Anybody who's joining the stream, like I said, we're talking about the Royal Braun Breaker winning its title at NXT New Year's Evil. The WWE releases. We're about to start talking about Hangman versus Danielson from AEW Dynamite. Feel free to drop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from or any thoughts you got on what we're talking about. But as far as the Royal Rumble, if he were to come into the Royal Rumble, I think it depends on which show they planned on him doing it with. If he goes to somewhere like SmackDown, I could see him going on a run and kind of eliminating a bunch of people and then maybe coming face to face with a guy like Sheamus, because Sheamus and him can bang it out for a minute, give him a nice little spot in there, keep him in there, even if he eliminates Sheamus, whatever the case. Or, on Raw, you with a guy like Drew McIntyre, maybe. I don't know, like they'd give him a spot with somebody big, because I think Vince sees money with Braun Breaker. It'll be interesting to see how much longer he stays in NXT. I don't know how long I expect to see him in NXT, but I definitely think he's somebody that he's going to be the first experiment that we're going to see crossover from NXT 2.0 to the main roster. And we're going to see if there's that big disconnect like there was before, which I really don't think is going to be the case now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But what else was interesting to see how it played out? Corey said it was his match of the year for 2021. And now you had the rematch, the run it back for Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson, which it was a banger. And added to this match, you had the three judges. You had Mark Henry, you had Paul White, No More BS, the Big Show, and you had Jerry motherfucking Lynn. If you don't know who Jerry Lynn is, do your research. Like I said, Hangman versus Danielson, I like that they got the first thing that jumped off to me is I like the way they got color in this match. I like where the blood came from. I like that Bryan Danielson got busted open straight up from a headbutt. Hangman Page gets split open on the steel stairs. You know what I mean? They're all in the heat of it. It was, like they were beating the shit out of each other. It had a great pace like the last one did. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think anybody went into this match expecting, oh shit, this match is going to suck.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
They're already going for match of the year. It's only January, 5th or 6th or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, let's be honest. Not to mention, let's take all the back factors to this. It's their first time on TBS. They officially are moved over to TBS now. It's a world title match. You've got the TBS title match that's going to be later in the card. I mean, they're trying to start it off hot. It's trying to start it off with a bang, dude. And I like the fact that, we've seen Bryan Danielson in a lot of his matches since he's turned heel or got more edge or whatever you want to call it. And you saw Hangman Page hitting the jumping jacks covered in blood. I thought that was dope. That's
Nice
kind of
touch,
like fuck
man.
you,
I
Danielson.
like that.
I thought that was dope. I liked that they went that route. I wish the judges had a table outside the ring, bro. I wish it would have been more
in
like
the crowd,
MMA or boxing. Yeah, they had them sitting in the front row, which and here's the other thing. They had the judges this time, but for making it such a big deal that the judges were going to be added to this one, the judges didn't have anything to do with the match.
Yeah, nothing happened with them.
Like, I'm not saying I wanted him to get involved, but like maybe have Bryan Danielson go fuck with him or something. Let the ref get knocked out. And one of them's got to come over the rail and get involved to like make sure that there's a clean fall or something.
What was the idea for that? Was it like in case it goes to the time limit, they can have the judges?
It was so that if it goes to the time limit, it was going to go to judge's decision. There was no way that there was going to be another time limit draw.
Yeah,
even if that'd That'd have been a first. Why not? They should have did that.
Even if that was the direction you wanted to go, where it wasn't going to play out to be a draw, and they weren't going to necessarily be needed in the professional terms. Yeah, they should have done something. If you're going to implement it, it seems like kind of a waste of the hype, a waste of the buildup of it. I guess.
I mean, has there ever been
especially
another wrestler that has won by judge's decision?
I don't know that's
ever
won by
happened,
judge's
right?
decision, but it's not the first time that they've had judges out there for a match.
I feel like that'd be a cool new touch,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been something different. And I mean, it's another thing for Bryan Danielson is the quote unquote heel to have in his back pocket. Like, I didn't really lose that match. The judges chose you. You didn't beat
Questionable
me. The
decision,
judges chose you. But I also think in this instance, though, it's a good thing that Bryan Danielson, at least hopefully, as long as they use it well, because it depends on who he's going to go against next. But it's good for Hangman because I think Hangman needed a win like that. Because nobody had beaten Bryan Danielson. He had that draw, but he was undefeated otherwise. So for Hangman, their new champion, the guy that they're pushing to the moon right now, to do some cowboy shit on TBS and, defeat Bryan Danielson, I think that was a great way to go. I still stick by what I said, though. I think that they should have had more to deal with it. You had the thing with CM Punk and MJF. I love the fact that CM Punk was wearing a Fury grappling shirt on there. I thought that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope right after that. And the psychology of it, right? So MJF keeps talking about how he, making excuses for why he won't fight Punk. Well, last night MJF is supposed to face the Captain Shawn Dean. Well, CM Punk comes out and calls him out. Well, just so that MJF loses, because remember they both said they're trying to win, rack up wins so that they can get the title. So what does Punk do? Hits Shawn Dean with a go to sleep, so it gets MJF disqualified.
What great idea too. That's whoever
it's
initially
like a fuck you to him.
Like a great idea.
Yeah, I knocked you out, kid, but now you beat MJF.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that. I thought that was good. And then we got another verbal joust on the night for CM Punk and MJF. So what were your thoughts on what we heard get spewed on the mic this time, J-Bone?
I love those. We already knew going into it, this was going to be a match on the microphone, maybe even more than in the ring. But I do like the poking of the bigger companies and all that stuff. But at the same time, man, I just don't like Punk to do it because we don't want to still associate Punk with WWE. You know what I mean? And I know that's hard for people to do, but for like the quote unquote fair weather wrestling fan, somebody who only knows him from that, like you're still slapping that label on his back. Like this is a WWE guy. And we got to get away from that. It might take a while, but using stuff like that may not help your case.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was something I was going to ask you about, because there were a couple of the lines in particular that I wrote down because, like I said, I mean, I love the spiciness of it. I like, that you don't care, but like you said, and like we've been talking about on the show, if you keep giving airtime and keep mentioning WWE and keep poking and picking at WWE, then what's going to happen is when you start having your issues and your flaws with you being a new company, you're also then going to open yourself up to all that as well. So I mean, we've talked about this before, like, don't piss in the other guy's sandbox. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but here's some of the lines and what J-Bone's talking about. MJF says if he's not treated well, maybe come 2024, he'll main event a WrestleMania too, because Punk never main evented WrestleMania. And then Punk responded back saying, go ahead, you can main event a buy one, get one free show. So
and then what did he say right after? He said, and get released quicker than you are in the sack or something like that.
Get released quicker than you are in the sack.
Funny, funny, good one.
It's funny, and like I said, I'm enjoying the verbal back and forth, but in a way, I also am like, bro, you kind of gotta like I said, at a certain point, I don't know. Everybody who's watching, Cody, I know you're watching. You've been watching AEW, man. what are your thoughts on all the shots back and forth at WWE? Do you think that could bite them in the ass since they still have a lot of things that they've got to work on their end as well? Then we've got to talk about whatever. I love the Terrence and Phillip line too. Oh my God, dude. The Terrence and Phillip line had me going, dude. Like I was dying. South Park.
I wonder if a lot of people got that though. You know,
I remember jumping on the trampoline with Corey and his ass is playing something talking about Chef's chocolate salty balls. I mean, I don't know.
I had the whole soundtrack,
hey,
bro.
that's one of the better songs
official-
of our time. Okay, that is one of the better.
Chocolate salty balls is one of the better songs of our time.
Yeah, South Park soundtracks were A1.
He
bro.
said, "Yeah."
Corey can agree with me.
Yeah, I remember me and an old friend Jeremy being kids walking around in the neighborhood, happened upon a garage sale and found it in the rack of the garage sale, and both of us were like, "We're broke as shit. Why don't we share this CD? We'll both have rights to the CD. Whenever either one wants it, you just come to the other one's house, grab the CD." Like, oh, dude. That
Good shit.
had many a classics on it. That's for sure.
We're gonna find that in our search history later on tonight. Like, I can't remember.
You know, if you're looking for Chef's chocolate salty balls, apparently come back to knockouts and 3 counts. But what you can find on AEW now is Jake Atlas, formerly of NXT with ROH, made his day. Is now All Elite. He's with AEW as well. I loved, and then we get to our Cody in the comments. I appreciate y'all. I don't know if it will bite them. They are and have been slowly taking the views, and by views I mean the adult viewers. Last WWE show I watched, seen a lot of kids in seats. It's hot Mike Gold. I'm not arguing with that at all. Like, there was definitely more kids in the seats, but I tell you though, especially after being here, me and J-Bone being at Raw just a few days ago, even though I definitely think it's more kids in a WWE crowd, I mean, from the last couple crowds I've seen, I mean, even at SummerSlam, and again, it was SummerSlam, but they had like 50,000 there for that too. So I'm not convinced that WWE is just going down. I think everybody is kind of at a point where they're having more trouble selling tickets right now with everything with the pandemic. That being said, AEW was packed as well on Wednesday. Like I said, I just think they're gonna have to watch out from when I say watch out, I mean from a standpoint of you can only sign so many people because you only got so much airtime. Here's a question for you, Cody. Out of the ones that are left, who are people that you would like to see come to AEW? That's what I want to know. If you guys are watching this, who is it that you'd like to see come to AEW if AEW is the place? Because for a guy like Samoa Joe, I wouldn't be mad if he went through Impact for a little bit and did some stuff with New Japan, because we know he used to teach at the New Japan LA dojo. And then if he went to AEW, okay, cool. But I'd like to kind of see him go through some places before he ends up there, if that's the case. So if there's anybody in particular you'd like to see come there, let me know in the comments.
I'd be cool if Samoa Joe swung through MLW.
I would totally be cool with that too. That'd be a perfect
Hammerstone. That would be freaking bad. Jeez.
That'd be fight,
dope. Dude. That'd be
him and Tom Lawler.
Yeah. We're talking fights now.
Dude, if you think Samoa Joe versus Tom Lawler is going to be anything less than a fucking fight, you're an idiot. I'm just saying.
They're going to beat the shit out of each other. Plenty of places he could go.
I mean, like I said,
I don't know what I still don't. I should probably Google it. I don't even know.
Here's something to think about. I wonder if he still's got a non-compete on though, since he wasn't wrestling.
Interesting.
So we'll have to see how that goes. But with AEW, I can't get off of AEW Dynamite without talking about the fact that we have crowned the first TBS champion, which I'm assuming was the women's equivalent to the TNT championship. And Jade showed apparently that she was that bitch. She says she's that bitch all the time. She won. We saw Mercedes Martinez try to get involved again, and that got thwarted. But before we get to the match, can we just talk about Ruby Soho's coat was fucking fire, dog. Like the fact that it had Jade's face on it and says, God save that bitch. It was, I thought that was, dude, I thought that was,
I always got into like ring gear like that. Like RVD was one of my favorites. That dude's ring gear alone fucking put him levels above. You know what I mean? I like that. She's good.
I
man.
think WWE missed the boat by not letting that happen with Edge and Christian. Hot damn, when they were both in the Rumble again this past year, dude. Like everybody was saying it. I would have loved to have saw Edge and Christian together, but like you said, I love that kind of stuff with the ring jacket. Cody, did you notice the God save that bitch coat? Yeah, like I said, it was a great match. I think Ruby Soho is one of the ones who's really getting to benefit from all these people being released and going to AEW, because I've said it for a long time. I've been a big fan of Ruby Riott. I met her at WrestleMania 33. Damn, that was already almost 5 years ago. I went and met Ruby Soho, and she couldn't have been cooler. And now that you've got Lars Fredrickson and Rancid letting her use the theme song and all that, it goes and the crowd sings along with it. And I don't know, man, it really was for the whole presentation of it was good. I think Jade still clearly she's clearly still got some work to do. What are your thoughts on Jade winning the title? Do you think Ruby should have won, or are you okay with Jade winning, or do you think like Jade got a title too quick?
I'm all right with it because I mean, let's face it, it's a secondary title, so it's kind of like you're not the face
like the
of
Intercontinental title when the Intercontinental title meant something.
You're not the face of the division per se in the women's division, so you're not going to be the front person on the billboard. It's a secondary championship. You're just basically for that particular station, I guess, right? But it's a good launching pad for her. I mean, look at her record. She was 22 or 23-0 or something like that in AEW. So when you use that versus the launching pad you want to use for that title, it could gain some prestige along the way. She just got to put on some good matches. She just needs that in-ring time, man. I think she'll do better. Give her a year. Give her another year. She'll probably be, levels above where she's at right now.
I'm with you on that, dude. It was a good match for what it was. There were a few things that were messed up. Like I feel like at the end when she went to go hit her move off the second rope and she went to go step up, it was like, no, just do it from the second rope.
Yeah,
do it from the second rope, because I was like, man, even though you're strong as shit, if you fall backwards, holy God, it's gonna be bad.
Was that before or after the Ray Phoenix? The Ray Phoenix match was
before.
Yeah,
the Ray Phoenix match was the end, and holy shit,
that was bad.
Holy shit,
that was not great.
Like, dude,
at all. I was just casually scrolling Twitter, like, oh, today's going great. Just playing my game. I'm gonna twist one up and hang out with the old lady and scroll through my. Oh my God, his arm is backwards.
Yeah,
dog. It was like
you gotta feel for him.
It's like in Harry Potter where they flick the, they say the spell and his arm just becomes jello, because I'm just like, oh my God, like
you could see from his reaction too, like it took him a second, like to like realize the extent of it. Like he went down, like played like the wrestling hurt, and then was like, oh no, I'm like, fuck.
I don't think there was any playing wrestling hurt, dog. That motherfucker.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm saying like his initial shock, like he wasn't like.
Yeah, I've never had a broken bone like that, or I guess it wasn't even broken according to them, but
really,
yeah, the initial shock.
So I've had my elbow popped in an armbar, and like it is kind of a delayed reaction in a way, because you're so hopped up on adrenaline that it takes a second for it to like pop in. But oh my God, how it's not broken. Like, if you say God's not real,
Kyle, so I got a question, since that's something like that has happened to you. When that happens, do you clearly, obviously, you're gonna feel the pop, but can you hear it? Like, do you actually hear that?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
That's
like my left
man,
elbow.
I can handle a lot of things, But injuries like that, broken bones and snap thing, dude, it just
My
takes
left
a
elbow to this
stomach
day,
turn, dude.
I'm serious. My left elbow to this day, and it didn't always do this. So like it started this in like the last couple years, but I know it's from jiu-jitsu. But like I'll crack my knuckles and I can feel like my elbow, like I can feel it kind of like cracking shit at times,
Yeah.
or like kind of
Oh.
move. And
A
so
little
when it
crunchy.
happened,
It's a little crunchy
yeah.
in there.
when it popped, dude, like basically what happened, I was in a jiu-jitsu tournament. Dude put me in a triangle choke. I postured up, or no, he had me in a triangle choke. I postured up. I kind of grabbed him by his gi a few times and kind of tried to shake him up and slammed him off the mat. Then I went to pick him up. And when I went to pick him up, he switched to an armbar. So it went from triangle like this to straight dick down armbar. My arm went from like this to like that very quick. And I didn't even tap. Like it made me scream I didn't scream. Like it.
Yeah, it was the involuntary response.
Yeah, like it was it was pretty gnarly, dude. So the fact that guy doesn't have a mangled broken arm right now is
it's what they ruled, just a
kinda,
dislocation, right? It wasn't a break.
It's what he said. He said they got to go to the doctor a few more times for study, but he said that it's not broken.
It kind of goes back to like the Jamal Hill thing, right? Like when his arm was dangling and shit in the octagon, just over the last year, and it's kind of the same thing. Like it's just a freak accident, but it just so happens to be at the ligament and not necessarily at the bone itself. So
it kind of sucks too, because I don't want to say it overshadows that match, because what a great match.
Well, I mean, you brought it up. It's as good a question as any to ask. Our buddy and past guest of the show, Mega Ran, was asking me about this earlier today. He said, "Do you think that had he not had that happen to his arm, do you think that the Lucha Brothers were losing the titles that night, or do you think that changed because he fucked his arm up?"
Very well could have. I mean, wrestling adjusts on the fly. Only good talents can do that right in the middle of a match. It's a very good question. At the same time, I'm not mad at the title change. I think it's been cool to see them, coming up.
I mean, they've had it for a little while now, but
yeah. But it's a good question. I'd love to know, because that could very well be. You can't hold the tag team title as a single competitor unless you're like Kane or whatever it was.
Appreciate it, brother, man. Do your thing. Be safe out there, homeboy. I got that shirt. You let me know.
That's a good
like
question.
I said,
that's actually a really good question. I never thought of that. I didn't think of that, but that's a really good question.
I don't know, man. I don't know that I think I don't know that I think Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus were kind of getting geared up for the titles at some point anyway. I don't know if that accelerated it, but we're going to have to see, because again, we talked about it on Tuesday, it looks like for all intents and purposes, and especially after they won and the lights kept going out like that and all the tag teams came out on the ramp after that.
What was with the light thing? Did we get anything out of that?
I think that's because Malachi Black might be bringing his homie Brody King soon.
I know they showed him. They showed him at the end of the match, right? They showed him he was sitting up in the
Malachi Black, not Brody King.
Yeah. Well, they also showed Chris Jericho too. So
yeah, I mean, well, in Chris Jericho, they had the whole thing with where Kingston and Santana and Ortiz came out to help Jericho. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how AEW comes out. I think they definitely had a great first show for it being on TBS. I definitely see why they put the belt on Jade, but we're going to just have to see where it goes. But I mean, they're already off to a good start for match of the year candidates, being fucking 1 week into the year. All right, AEW. We talked about it. We got new champions. We talked about it. But speaking of champions, is Aljo digging himself a grave with all these fucking Instagram videos, dude?
He's really got to put up or shut up, though. I don't think he's necessarily digging himself a hole, right? He's already in kind of a very tough spot. A lot of fans really have discredited everything that he's done in his career to get to this point. Like, he's not even talked about as, like, the rightful guy to still be fighting for the belt. They're just like, get this one out of the way so we can see Petre on defend his belt. And it's like, no, dude, he legit was like, he had such a fan outcry just a year ago to get to that title fight. Like Dana White basically didn't want to even give it to him, but so many media members and so many fans were asking him about it that he got to that point. And then just because he didn't have an incredible showing, which I thought he was doing well until he got gassed, he just really tired himself out because he did not know how to conserve himself. It was like his emotions got the best of him. But I'm very excited to see the second match. I think he's already in a super tough spot to begin with, so I don't necessarily think he's digging a hole. I think the hole's already dug. He's trying to, if anything, put up or shut up, really.
He's not doing himself any favors, that's for sure. But like you said, he's got to win, and he's got to win in almost a dominant fashion considering that last fight, man. So we'll see. I don't know.
You think so?
I don't know that maybe digging a grave. I don't know that digging a grave necessarily is the right word necessarily, but at the same time, I guess he already kind of was in that spot anyway, that he had to win at this point anyway. But I just keep seeing all that, and to me, like, I just feel like after the way the first fight went, it's crazy to me. And again, I'm not saying you don't have confidence in yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself if you're going to go step in an octagon to go fight another person. But what I'm saying is how he could have that much confidence over a person that was, let's be honest, bro. I won $150 off it, so thank you for calling that a disqualification. But dude, he was getting his ass beat before that disqualification, in my opinion.
Well, another thing I feel like has failed to get mentioned a lot in this is people had a ton of doubt about Petraeus before that performance. That was like you had just noted, you won because Aljo got the DQ, but that's because you felt as though Aljo was going to be the one to get the victory on the night because Petraeus just wasn't proven to that point. His big win was over Uriah Faber, really. It was, so
and he got an older Uriah Faber.
That, so it was, it was kind of weird how it had progressed to that point, and for Petraeus to look the level that he has since that fight and to continue to rise his career has just been great to watch. It's been entertaining as hell. But yet again, I'm so surprised how quick, because dude had to deal with a neck surgery and had to take an additional couple months off, that just fans have just turned their back completely, man.
Well, I think it's because he's talking all this trash as though he just smoked Petraeus to get the belt. And the thing is, was that shot blatantly illegal and did he deserve to lose for it? Sure. But at the same time, let's not act like Aljo was just whipping his ass before that fight, before that knee, because that was not the fight that I saw.
Right. He didn't win the fight. Jan lost the fight is kind of what it was.
Jan lost the fight for himself. Aljamain did not beat him. Right. Although I'm glad that I cashed in those because it helped me get this tattoo, which brought you guys them motherfucking t-shirts. I digress.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that knee happened in the fourth round. It was either the fourth or the third. I can't quite remember. Fourth round. And up to that point, I had it 3-1 Petraeus. So it's not like Aljo wasn't. It's not like he didn't have spots. He just looked.
He had spots, but if you ask me who was winning,
he didn't have nothing in those later rounds for him at all. And what really looked bad,
before that knee, he was getting beat up too.
Yeah, and what made it look even worse is Aljamain normally being a wrestling dominant, who also has striking ability. It's not like he's non-striker, but he's usually able to get these fights to the ground and get victories through the ground. And you've seen Petraeus was able to reverse the takedowns and actually end up taking him down. And that just made Aljo look that much worse, man. It really did. I feel like that's a lot of the reason why people feel as though Aljo was doing so bad in that fight.
I agree with you. And speaking of things making people look bad, what are your guys' thoughts on this whole thing with the Surlgan and Francis Ngannou sparring footage? Do you think it's a dick move? Do you not think it's a dick move?
It kind of, in my opinion, A, yes, it's a dick move. B, it kind of shows why Francis Ngannou wanted to find a new head coach to begin with. If your original head coach, the dude that got you from the streets of Paris, the story that's been told a million times, living on the streets, had nothing to his name, to UFC heavyweight level contention. And this guy's going to leak sparring footage of, maybe you looking compromised or something like that in sparring. When you're talking about where Surreal Gone, like I had seen it mentioned in quite a few podcasts up to this point, and I agree with a lot of the assessments that have been levied that more than likely what was going on is it was like a bull pit type round where Ngannou was in a training camp getting ready for an actual fight, where Surreal Gone was just in there being one of the 4 or 5 guys that Ngannou was dealing with on the day. So even if he didn't look super impressive, that may have been round 5, that may have been round 3, that may have been later in the fight, in his sparring. It's just a bad look all around, man. It really is, especially from a former head coach of somebody that you've seen grow up to that level. It's bad.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
agree.
J-Bone, what did you
I
think?
agree there. It's just I've never been one for I understand the mental warfare game. I get it, but like stuff like that is it's just different, man. Like in the trenches, in the camps, in the fight game, people get to their breaking points. You know what I mean? Like you're at your most vulnerable spots in your career, probably is right in your practice and in your training. So it's like, don't put me out like that, because that's what's gonna make me want to knock your head off. You know what I mean? It's gonna make it personal. Talking trash on social media, that's one thing, but you start putting stuff out like that, now I just want to fuck you up. You know what I mean? So bad look. I personally don't think social media footage like that should be allowed to be leaked at all. I don't think there should be footage in training camps, sparring sessions, none of that. I just don't think it should be allowed.
Okay, so I'm going to come at this from a total different place, and this coming from somebody who's been around guys that are in camps like that and have gotten ready for fights. There definitely needs to be footage in a training camp, because a lot of times you watch your own sparring footage to see what you're doing, especially in a case like theirs, when you're getting to a higher level like that. A lot of times you're bringing in guys or girls in the given case that can mimic things that your opponent is going to do.
Right.
So you want to see how you react in these type of things. A lot of times a coach is going to want to look at all those things. So I don't have a problem with there being footage in a camp, because there's a lot of uses for that footage. But my thing is, it's one thing to talk about sparring. Like we've heard it talked about a lot with Michael Chandler's fights, since he wasn't in the UFC and now he's in the UFC, and there's so many guys that he's either trained with or worked with at some point, or in a lot of cases when people either leave or go to American Top Team, you hear about that a lot. But in a lot of ways, with the way that this has all come out, it just kind of seems like it's mental warfare, but it almost just seems kind of borderline petty at this point, because it's like you being his former coach to go try to drop something like that. It's like, you left me, but motherfucker, you were getting beat up anyway. Right. Well, what happens if he comes in there and knocks him out? Because if Ngannou comes in there and knocks Surreal's head off,
and he just may.
Yeah,
and he can. I was there when Alistair Overeem got the life knocked out of him. It only takes one. Like I've said before, if you guys aren't already doing so, go follow us at KO3C Pod, those social media you see there in the corner, because you'll see the man's fist is bigger than my fucking head, and I got a big ass chrome dome. So, like I said, I think that it was kind of a low blow move in a lot of ways. And here's the thing: if Ngannou comes out there and knocks him out, now you look like a clown.
Well, with the pay-per-view right around the corner, Kyle, how do you see that fight playing out, honestly? I mean, we did see Gane kind of on an incredible rise last year, right? Like, he really did look great in a lot of his fights. He just straight up outperformed Derek Lewis in every facet of the game. He looked great in every fight he was up against. He outclassed Volkov. He just looked like an incredible next-level heavyweight fighter. And Ngannou wasn't crazy active last year. He was chasing Stipe, and then since then has dealt with the whole contract disputes and stuff like that. It's an interesting fight. I feel as though Ngannou may still end up touching him, but how do you see that fight playing out?
as of right now, I mean, I think this is probably going to be one of Ngannou's tougher tests, only because this is a guy who's not going to be afraid to stand with him and essentially wants to stand with him. But at the same time, like you said, this was the best Ngannou we had seen in his last fight too, from wrestling defense to his striking and everything in between. Plus, now you have a motivated Ngannou as well. Something in me says that I still want to roll with Ngannou, but that being said, I think that this fight all comes down to what kind of pace it's been allowed to have. Like if Ngannou's able to come in and just force. If Ngannou's able to just come in and force his style, which is kind of like a car crash in a lot of ways, then I think Ngannou's got a good chance to put him down. But if Cyril Gane is able to implement his footwork and been able to slow it down, it could be more of a problem. But then again, if it gets into a chess match striking battle, I mean, I wouldn't want to sit and throw punches with Ngannou. Although, yes, Gane is a heavyweight. I don't know. I still think Ngannou wins this one, dude. But the fact that Gane is so good on his feet makes this more intriguing. Who do you like in this Ngannou Gane fight, J-Bone?
Oh, I'm taking Ngannou. I'll never. I'm not gonna go against Ngannou again ever, dude. that dude, with the way he fought Stipe, like, dude can eat punches. I think we've seen that. So. And I don't think his power is going to be matched by anybody. So all he has to do is just connect with you just once. That's it. It's all it's going to take. And he may
I'm
have
telling
to
you, like I said,
two to give you one, but that one may put you in the first row. You know what I mean? So
it really, Kyle, I think you best explained it. It really kind of comes down to what level. We've all heard the rumblings that Cyril Gane has some of the best footwork in the heavyweight division. We've actually kind of seen it play out that way.
I was going to say, I mean, he's shown it.
Yeah. But nobody's applied the level of pressure that I feel like Ngannou is able to do to people. He really gets people on their back foot, man. He really does. He's got such long length, and he's just able – that power is truly next level scary. It really is. You see what he's able to do to people. So – it really boils down to is Gane going to be able to circle out and pick the right side to not get caught by a hook, or, you know, it really all is going to be kind of determined in the small moments, I guess you could say.
I think the footwork is going to win the fight, and you know, like I said, we're gonna see. And I mean, with all that talk about what happened in the sparring, I mean, let's not forget, dude. Like, sparring is sparring. Like, you get hit, but in a fight, I'm trying to kill you.
Well, I had watched, and that's the point that Ngannou made. He never let the beast come out in sparring, and even in the video that I don't know if you guys seen it actually or not, or just seen the headline. Ngannou, you can tell he's not throwing his punches. He's kind of arming, you know, he's more doing it like an accuracy drill than he is trying to throw anything into it. He's really not like trying.
And that's why I say, like, you get a full power, like, look, dude. Look, there's a difference between when somebody's coming in and playing. Like, when you're sparring, you're usually throwing about 60-70%. You know, like, you're not trying. I mean, you're hitting hard, but you're not banging them. If you got a guy that's the size of Francis Ngannou hitting you with full power, that's going to be getting hit like a damn Mack truck, bro. So I'm sorry. From the footage I saw, that looked like they were flow sparring. And I don't think, like I said, I still go with Ngannou, but I think Gane's going to present an interesting test. You guys will have to make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new here, or hit that like and comment button, because you don't know. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but we're going to bring somebody in to talk about the UFC card when that one is upon us. Well, that leads us to the last thing of the night that we got to talk about. It's Wrestle fucking Kingdom, Japan's biggest show of the year. And yeah, Megaran, fuck you. I still want to go to Japan. I got to go see Wrestle Kingdom before I croak. Yeah, dude. what were your thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom back with more fans this year, J-Bone, being that last year Japan was still under such the hard Corona mandates?
Well, I mean,
Lockdown. Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I just love the Tokyo Dome atmosphere, man. Like you could almost put anybody in the ring at the Tokyo Dome for me. It's just cool to watch. But I also like the Forbidden Door for Wrestle Kingdom, and we didn't really have much of that because of the travel restrictions and all that. You know what I mean? It's like when Jericho was there and Omega was there, stuff like that. I really enjoy mixing.
But they did do that in a way because they made up for it in the fact they couldn't bring any Americans. This is only like the 4th Wrestle Kingdom where they've partnered up with Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was good. It was a good card both nights. And is there a third night? I keep seeing the
no,
third
it's
night.
2 nights. I didn't get to watch night 2, so I'll let you give some of your thoughts on night 2. I'm actually going to watch that after we get done here.
So the next one is in a couple of days. So that's not a third night. That's a completely separate.
No,
show.
that's New Year's Rush.
Okay. That's like the 50th anniversary card or something like that.
This was 50th anniversary. Was this Wrestle Kingdom? Or the New Japan 50th anniversary?
The match with Kenta and the other guy, I can't think of his name right now. That was fucking great. I don't remember if that was night 1 or night 2 because I just kind of watched.
It was night 2. It was for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, I know you're gonna go back and watch it, but he took this bump off this ladder, man. And this ladder, it's not a freaking WWE or AEW ladder. This thing was huge, and he took this bump, and it didn't even look like it just looked like a fall, man. It just looked like a flat, like dude just fell, and he must have just nicked his eye on.
Wasn't it versus Tanahashi?
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, I do bad.
It was Tanahashi. Tanahashi's a fucking legend, dude.
Dude fucking bit it, and I was like, oh, it was one of those bumps where you're just like, oh, and then he gets up and he's got the cut right on his eye. I'm like, oh shit, he hit it. And so he really
for something for those who don't know, like we see CM Punk do the go to sleep. Kenta is the one who originated that move. Yeah. Let's just put that out there for the folks at home.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one that originated the go to sleep. That's why it was such a big deal when he came over there and was Hideo Itami in NXT. That's why it was such a big deal when he started doing the go to sleep, because real fans knew that CM Punk wasn't the one who originated the go to sleep. That was I almost called him Hideo Itami. That was Kenta. But I have more to say when it comes to day 1, because like I said, I didn't get to watch day 2 yet. But for starters, what were your thoughts on the fact that the American commentary had to do it for me here in the States? So it was basically in the Zoom box, like what we're looking at.
Yeah, you could tell. It was just. You ever cook chicken and you don't add no spice to it?
Yeah, it's just dull.
You ever eat a frozen, like one of those frozen hamburger patties, and you don't season it?
My thing was, it wasn't so much that I thought the commentary was bad, but like the English guy, at some points, I was like, man, can you show a little bit more enthusiasm, dog?
Yeah.
And then when they would show him
man.
Right, and then when they would show in the Zoom box, I mean, obviously everybody's got their own thing, but you would think if you're doing Wrestle Kingdom from at home, you would have a setup behind you. I'm like,
yeah.
You're on pay-per-view and shit, boys. Liven it up a little bit. But I mean, hey, I'm not hating because Kevin Kelly is an OG. I'm a big fan of Kevin Kelly, but it was just kind of funny.
Were these boys doing it like fucking kitchen interview style, like some of the guests that come in or something? Like, was it the backdrop bad?
No, but it was just like they were in just a basic room. Like they're basically same setup like what we got, but like
their home office. But
but there was no Wrestle Kingdom stuff behind them. Like no,
they didn't even bother just putting up a banner. Like that would have
they could have put a green screen, would have been fine. Anything.
Yeah.
All right. So some of the things that stuck out to me for night 1, I liked that they had Fujinami, former WWE Hall of Famer, and he wrestled in the first match for New Japan in 1972. So that's a stat in and of itself. He was in the opening match of Wrestle Kingdom, showed up in the Battle Royal. Then you had Yuji Nagata, Minoru Suzuki, and Taka Michinoku were the final 4 in the New Japan Battle Royal to go face off for the King of Pro Wrestling title in night 2, which I thought that was cool because it was kind of like a harken back to like the old school in a way, like having them in there. I mean, again, we talk about Taka Michinoku. If you don't remember Kai and Tai from when we were younger, dude, you know, the Michinoku driver, choppy PP. You got to remember that. J-Bone remembers, don't you?
I remember. He looks great though, dude. I wasn't even aware that he was there until I turned it on, and I was like, no shit.
Or no, I lied. Though they were in that match. Excuse me. The final 4 was Yano, Minoru Suzuki, Chase Owens, and then Shima, who you've seen in AEW from Strong Hearts, was in the final 4. Show versus Yo, pretty good match there. They were the former Roppongi 3K, and like a lot of teams when they've split apart, it's like one goes to the dark side and joins the Bullet Club. Like I said, it's that was a really good match. I really liked seeing Will Osprey out there with Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan. And I like the fact, you know, J-Bone, we were going to go to Warrior Wrestling. I like the fact that he brought the Warrior Wrestling, one of the top indie companies in the world, but he's bringing that title out with him at Wrestle Kingdom at the fucking Tokyo Dome. I thought that was really cool. I'm a big fan of Jeff Cobb as well. You know, shout out to our friends over at Pele Pro Wrestling. You know, they've had Jeff Cobb come in there and fight against our guy Sam Adonis. Jeff Cobb could throw any human being that's walking the face of this earth. I'm convinced by it, and don't at me. Like I said, I thought it was dope, but how do you feel? You know, how do you feel Will Ospreay would do if he was in the States like full time, J-Bone? Because, you know, he's wrestled the majority of his stuff in Japan and England, and I mean, we've seen him over here, but never like any like significant time like that. Right.
He's a pro, dude. He's a vet, but I think he's better suited for international stuff. He's just one of those guys, you know, you know those guys after watching all these years, like the guys that just won't fit in. And that's another major talent. I just don't think he'd fit in. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
I think he would now.
Matches. He'd put on great wrestling matches. He always does. But like, as far as like his veteranship, like he can't go to WWE. Absolutely not.
Oh, I don't think he'd want to go to WWE. I mean, think about it, bro.
Would either. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't think anybody would want to go to WWE at this point.
I think if Osprey were to go anywhere, I could have seen him do like an Impact or an AEW. Yeah. But I don't think he'd even want to go to WWE. But dude, Osprey absolutely is like I said. So they had their 6-man, and then at the end of the night, you had the world title match for Okada. You know, Okada versus Takagi, which we can talk about in a second. But it was great to see Shibata back, bro. Shibata is a legend over there in Japan, and he kind of had a very similar kind of situation like with what we've seen over here in the States with Edge and Christian with being deemed medically unable to compete. And this is his first match back since he was deemed back to not be able to compete. And with him coaching over at the LA dojo, he faced one of the young boys from the dojo, but it was symbolic. I don't know if you caught it, J-Bone. So originally the match was supposed to be held under catch wrestling rules, basically meaning that he couldn't take any strikes because he had a hematoma. That's why he was out. It was his first match in 1,752 days, I think. And
oh, damn.
Right. And so then he comes back to face one of the guys that he's training in the dojo. But right before the match starts, he says, this match is under pro wrestling rules. So that means there's strikes involved.
Now you can take the strike.
Right. So who knows what that means for Shibata.
Good little moment there. I like that stuff, man.
Right. And it's kind of, and then in a way, he's putting over the kid from the dojo too, because like, okay, not only are you getting his first match back, you're getting him back at full bore when they didn't know if he could ever come back to do that. So I just thought that little things like that were kind of cool. And the other big thing that stuck out to me on that card, obviously, was the main event. Okada is the truth. There's no way to say it, dude. Like Okada is the biggest star in Japan. There's a reason why WWE and all the rest of them would love to get him over there, even though Impact originally had Okada over there and didn't do shit with him, just like Shinsuke Nakamura. But I digress. But Okada is that dude. Like, ironically, ring the bell. I was there. G1 Supercard. I was there for Okada versus Osprey. Like I said, Okada is the biggest star in Japan. It makes perfect sense why he took the title back from Takagi. Shingo Takagi is a guy who I think is going to be a big star for New Japan. Clearly, he had a good run with the New Japan title, but what I liked is, even for there not being as much shit talking in Japanese wrestling, the story that they told. If you pay attention, and the fact that they're going into night 2, the fact that Will Osprey comes out, Okada wins, goes and, you know, shows his respect to the old New Japan title. They had the New Japan title there, but Will Osprey was the first one who had that title. So for Will Osprey, who is going to face him in night 2 in the main event, you know, you're a fake, you're a carbon copy. This is the real world title, you know, kind of harken back to Ric Flair. This is the real world championship belt.
He's going to get the belt, Daddy.
Sweet Charlotte is no more. We got the big gold in this bitch. Anyways, that was a little bit of what Will Ospreay was trying to tell people last night, the other night at New Japan. I like that. I like that there was story going in, you know, from night 1 to night 2. Obviously, I got to watch it. J-Bone, what did you think of Okada and Ospreay, bro? Great
match, dude. Loved it. That was the one I was into the most. Obviously, the main event is the one that gets you there, but what a match, man. It kind of goes back to what I was saying, though. It's like the way Ospreay presents himself. I don't want to see him get lost in the shuffle in any company over here. He is, for me, perfect where he's at, and fucking had a great match with him, man. The Rainmaker. That dude. Okay, he's incredible. Dude.
All right. Having been in the building and watched Okada wrestle before, do you like the Rainmaker as a finisher? Yes or no?
I get no, because how do I explain this? It's not.
I'll explain it for you. When you gotta hit a motherfucker 5 times with your finisher, how's it the finisher?
Right, and it's not a protected finisher. You know what I mean? I feel like
it's not a protected finisher because it's just a clothesline.
We talked about this a while back. Like, finishers, it should be the last move. You know,
okay, here's a perfect example. When you see guys hit clotheslines and it's a finisher, who do you think of when I say clothesline is a finisher?
Old school me or like kid me?
Period.
Bradshaw.
And what did Bradshaw do with his clothesline? There's a reason they called it the clothesline from hell. He knocked the guy out of his fucking skin.
Fucking head off. Stan Henson,
he knocked the guy out of his skin. You didn't wonder, hey, did he hit him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You knew you were taking the clothesline from hell. You are going down, dude. And that was the last
lariat.
Move. Yeah,
the buckshot lariat.
Perfect example. Kenny Omega's finisher. Like, it was a big deal when Hangman kicked out of it. It was a big fucking deal.
Well, so you gotta my point to what I'm getting at is it's the impact, right? Like, no disrespect to Okada. Again, I just said Okada is one of the best in the world. Period. There's no ifs, ands, buts, whatever. He's one of the best. Period. Yeah. Done deal. But I never have liked the Rainmaker. Yeah. When I was there at the G1 Supercard, man, the fact that he hit the Rainmaker like 6 fucking times. I was like, what
you gotta hit it 6 times.
I remember I was literally getting mad I was literally getting angry at the fact that he hit him like 6 times. And I'm like, hot damn, how many times you gotta hit him with it?
Right. Exactly.
I feel like you got to add like some kind of variation to it. But as an overall package, dude, there's nobody else that makes more sense to have the belt on in New Japan. I mean, he's New Japan's gold boy. He's like New Japan's The Rock, pretty much.
Right.
At this point,
pretty much.
Like I said, I got no problem with him winning. I definitely am looking forward to checking out night 2 here. I'm a big fan of Osprey, though. Like I said, I'm interested to see where Osprey goes from here. I don't know, man. Wrestle Kingdom was good. I think it kind of got hurt a little bit because of the pandemic and stuff like that. I don't know. The only other thing I had on the docket for us to really talk about tonight is right before I was going live, I was looking at the old social medias and I saw, even though Matt Cardona says that there's nothing that he could do that they could do to get him to come back to GCW, it looks like Joey Janela has done something that might have to make you come back to GCW to defend your man card. Just saying.
Took a book out of the Ric Flair thing, man. I like it. I love that.
That was at Cardona's house. You know it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%. That was at Cardona's house.
He may have even took the photo.
Oh, dude, I'd almost be willing to bet you that there's a good chance he did. But then again, knowing them, I'm sure they had a photographer do it. But basically, if you go look on social media, there's like a whole bunch of pictures with Joey Janela and Chelsea Green, around what looks like Matt Cardona and them's pool. and it was right after Matt Cardona saying, no, there's nothing you can do to get me to come back to GCW. I think we might be seeing more of it. And I don't know. J-Bone, last question. It's the most riveting question of this whole show. Do you think that we're going to see JEFFJARRET, or do you think he's going to be spending his days working hard on the go with the hands on the clock, keep spinning too slow? I can't wait to be at home with my baby tonight. Do you think he's going to sing it at GCW?
If you do that, no. But I think
you motherfucker, we all sang it together here in Detroit. You don't tell me. Jim Cornette whipped his dick out in Detroit. You don't tell me.
I think if you do the strut on the way into the building, you might just summon them there. But I'd love to see it, man. I love seeing Jeff Jarrett, man. I know a lot of people are not too fond of him, but I liked him. I always did. I'd love to see him at GCW.
Dude, oh my God. Ever since I heard Bruce Pritchard, who happens to be a past guest of this show, do that on his show, dog, I can't ever hear it any other way.
Yeah. Maybe he'll show up to GCW with his old road dog. That'd be sweet.
Dude, oh my God. Brett Lauderdale, you heard it here first. We need Jeff Jarrett and the motherfucking road dog in Detroit. Hopefully they don't got no compete clauses, but if they come and sing that bitch in Detroit, I will sing karaoke in that motherfucker. But like I said, I'm looking forward to Harpo's. We're going to link up with our homie Darren McCarty, see what he's talking about. I don't know, maybe he'll get involved, but yeah, man, that's another Thursday in the book. We talk Wrestle Kingdom, we talk New Year's Evil, we talked NXT releases, we've talked the little MMA news that there is. And
not too much this week.
Corey, we're almost there, man.
Dude, I'm itching.
We're itching almost there, man.
The only one that did get missed in the shuffle there was Max versus Volk, but I feel like with it being the third match, we'll talk more when that one gets closer. We kind of all know what we're gonna see in that one. It's gonna be entertaining either way. But
yeah, we're gonna be paying a little bit more for that one, aren't
we? Yeah, that's one thing we should get to before the show ends. How
sound off on that one, Corey?
Are these motherfuckers that they got to raise the pay-per-view twice within one calendar year? I know it might,
and they had record pay-per-view numbers. Let's not fucking forget about that. You're having record pay-per-view numbers because everybody was sitting at home watching the damn pay-per-view, and it's already $70, which was like $30 more than most pay-per-views, although most fights have all kind of gotten to be that way. Boxing is a lot like that too, so I can't give them too much shit. But God, that's why I don't buy boxing fights most of the time unless it's somebody I really want to see, because theirs are expensive too. But the UFC, I mean, shit, when you're going to have 1 to 2 pay-per-views a month, that means you're looking at $160 a month.
Yeah.
On top of the ESPN Plus membership.
Yeah, I wish I had the tweet in front of me. I think it was Mike Bond. It was one of the well-connected MMA journalists out there, but he actually did the breakdown of what it cost to be a dedicated fan from last year, and it was somewhere around like $1,200 to buy all the pay-per-views, to have the ESPN Plus membership, in just that. It was just that. It wasn't like buying any gear or supporting any fighters or anything beyond that. It was literally just watching the content. Was like roughly, it was over 1,000.
Cool thing is when we do book Jake Paul versus Kyle, we'll be able to pay for it, no problem.
Right.
We'll be able to pay for this, no worries.
I can fit the bill. I'm a YouTuber, apparently, and look, I haven't gotten trained as much as Jake Paul has, but look, dude, even if I go in there and he knocks my ass out, because we know he likes to fight guys that he's 50 pounds heavier than half the time.
He's still getting paid, dude.
I don't give a fuck if I'm getting paid. If I'm getting
paid, a lot of money.
You pay me $500,000. You pay me $500,000. Pay me $750,000. I don't even know that I need a full $1 million. You paid me $750,000, bro. You mark my words. You give me $750,000, dude, and I'll be doing broadcasting for a living. Mark my fucking words, and I'll be talking shit about Jake Paul all the way to the bank.
If we do my fantasy booking that I keep throwing out there, we're gonna be rich in no time. Look at this one. Before we get out of here, I got this one too. We're gonna be rich, fellas.
KO3C Pod versus who?
Toxic Attraction. Let's go.
Hell yeah. I want that, even though I doubt they would never run like a males versus females.
Hey, we got this. But what do you mean? Don't talk about how we're at a
bro, your lady might kill you before we ever got to the ring.
Hey, I come home with that paper. She's gonna be very happy, that's for sure. As long as I don't fight back, we're fine.
But then aren't we gonna be like getting put in like Andy Kaufman territory? Like,
not if we just get our ass kicked.
Well, Andy Kaufman about got his ass kicked too, but they were gonna kill his ass.
Well, look at least Andy. I don't know if you see the poster back there. At least Kaufman made it on a poster with Lawler. You're saying you wouldn't get on a poster with these guys and live forever? Let's go.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing of YouTube. I am immortal. Anyways, but this is the end of another Knockouts and 3 Counts. Stay tuned. I heard that there might be the last real man coming to a screen near you. Anybody who's a Ring of Honor fan, you do 2 and 2 and do the math. Hopefully everything comes through. You'll have to tune in this Tuesday to see who it's going to be. Until next time, and in the in-between time, peace.